Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk and I'm back with the Stamp Around UK crew today, and this month we had a sketch challenge which I'm going to try and show you on my phone, hopefully. So that's our challenge. I don't do sketch challenges very often. I don't know why, I just kind of go a bit off-piste. But anyway, I thought I'd give it a go. And so I'm using some of this beautiful new paper that we've got, which is called Wonder of the Season. It's a specialty paper, so it's beautifully foiled. You get 2 of each sheet. So foiled on the one side, black and white on the other. So we've got one in gold there with script on the back. Red foil with some sort of recipe type ones on the back. Almost like an old-fashioned newspaper as well, with a lovely script font on the back of that. Again, sort of recipes, but some of these are in, there's a bit of French in there, there's a bit of I think there's is it all a bit of German as well in there. And on the back again, sort of stories and poems. Gold foiling again, that's a newspaper with the stories and poems. Or might have shown you that one twice, maybe. Yes, probably in red and gold. And then this one is sort of gold foiled typescript, and again on the back. So that's the paper I'm using. Just because, why not? I'm using Poinsettia Petals for the sentiment, for this beautiful Merry Christmas. This comes in a bundle with the dies, which are what I'm mainly going to be using. So you see the dies here, absolutely gorgeous. They cut out, there is some matching paper that goes with this in the bundle. That cuts out the image on the paper, but also cuts out this image here. Obviously these are not shown full size on the front. And then you've got 3 sizes of poinsettia leaves, and these 2 dinky little ones as well. Some foliage again. This one cuts out the berry sprig and some lovely holly leaves. And you'll see that there's 2 parts to these dies. You can either use them to cut out the stamped images, or you can die cut them and then use this piece to emboss the middle of them. I've tended to do that separately. I kind of get a bit paranoid about dies moving on a magnetic plate and crossing and ruining them. But I have done both, but I found I tended to die cut first and then just pop the leaves on afterwards with an embossing layer as well. So those are the dies I'm using, along with just one of these from the Stitched So Sweetly, and I've used this lovely shaped frame here. Although the kind of rectangular one with the curved corners, I liked that one, but I thought, hey, you know, I want to do something a little bit different to that. And then I've just used some rhinestone basic jewels as well to create this card here. So you'll see the lovely foiled paper in the background. I've got the sort of a lovely rhinestones here, and then I've just used the foliage on here, and I've just created it in white. I love white on white, but I wanted to just add a bit of pop of colour. You'll see the banner. I kind of avoided the roundel in the middle, because I could. So that's the card I'm making. So I thought it'd be really fun actually to see what it looked like in landscape orientation as well. So that's what I'm going to do. So quite a bit of the prep I have done already. Die cutting, you know, I'll talk you through the sandwich that I've made and how I actually prepared it. So to start off with, I've created a card base. So this is 21 by 14.5 centimetres, scored at 10.5 to create our card base, and you just need to burnish that down to create a nice layer. I've then taken some real red cardstock, and I've cut a piece that's 14 by 10, and I've gutted it at 2 centimetres. So gutting is where we take the middle out, make our craft supplies go further, and that's perfect. And I don't always gut a square. Sometimes I use it for punching or die cutting. I tend to, though, gut and then die cut rather than only because some of my plates are a bit cut marked, so I don't want to damage the front of my card and to give it some texture where I didn't want it. So I've just created that frame. Just put that straight down onto your card. A piece of the DSP, and that's from the same sheet that I used the original one. And again, I'm just using my Tombow just to go around the outside of this. You could obviously use your Stampin' Seal to go on that, or snail if you still have it. I've probably been a bit gloopy there. Just a tip, if ever you've done that, you want to sort of just ease it out a little bit, because you don't want that sort of gloopiness to then spill out onto your card front. So that layer then goes straight onto here, just to add some interest. Now you can, if you want, just run your bone folder over that to get a nice even coverage. So now next bits that we're going to do is I've die cut my shape. So that's our shape to go in the middle here. And then I've just taken a piece and cut it at about 1.8, 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to use the Banner's Picker Punch to just flag the end of that. Now you'll see it's only about a 10cm piece. So it isn't going to stretch all the way across my card, not in this orientation. So again, all I do is just cut that in half, because you're only going to see the ends of it anyway, and it will just still work really well. Now because this paper has got some nice lines on it, that is perfect, because it means it's really easy to line it up. So I'm just going to pop that just in from the side there, and do the same with my other piece. That just like so, and then we're going to stamp our sentiment onto here. Now these are photopolymer stamps, so I recommend you get your stamping pierce mat out. I'm using real red. It will stain your photopolymer stamp. Quite simple. The old stamp cleaner that we used to have is great for minimising that, but to be honest with you, it's just a sign of a well-loved stamp. So I'm just popping a very simple Merry Christmas in real red across the centre there. So pop that to one side, and then we can crack on with our flowers. So I said with the poinsettia dies, what I've done is to create the various flowers on here. The only one I haven't used is the very largest one. I did start using it, but I just felt it was that bit too big for this size of card on this occasion, because I was using multiple flowers. So what I've done is on this flower here, I've used 2 of the medium ones and 1 of the small leaves. So you want 2 medium and 1 small for that flower. For this flower, I have used 2 of the small. I've got one already die cut here. Actually, I've got 2 small and 1 of the tiny ones. And then for the dinky little one, I've actually used 3 of the teeny tiny ones, like so. And those are what I'm going to use to create the flowers. Now what I've done for this card is I've also done some holly leaves. So you can see here we've got 2 sizes of holly leaf. And I've used the embossing layer on those as well. Now if you wanted to, you could always ink up the inner of this embossing leaf and pop that on to create some more interest. But what I'm going to do is just to show you. So what I would do normally is die cut the shape and then add the inner. And just pop that in, rotate it till you get the right. You'll see it when it's the right sort of shape. Which is this one over here. I've actually put a mark on mine. And then pop that through your die cutting machine. If you've got an embossing mat, that's great to do that. I use, for mine, to get an embossed layer for these ones, I just use my magnetic plate, my well-loved plate on the top. Just pop that up so that it stays in place. And then what I've got is I've got a metal shim that I just pop on the top there. I have also been known to use a cut-up can. Other brands of drink are available. They're quite nice tall cans. And that just puts an extra bit of pressure on it. There are embossing mats out there. And I think I haven't looked so much at the new Stampin' Up machine yet, because I've got my trusty old Big Shot here. And then when that comes out, you should be able to see the sort of embossing on there. So you do that with all of your pieces, and And you know me, you know, I do lots at a time. So I've got a little stash already. You can see, oh, you can't see because I've not put it in there. In here, I've already started adding my shapes, ready for the next opportunity. And so let's make our flowers. Okay, so the way I make the flowers, having die cut them, it's in with the bone folder. So I gently just shape those using the edge of my bone folder away from me. I do that with all of the pieces. Like so. Not too hard because you don't want to get rid of that embossing in the centre. Then I just press down in the middle of each of those. You'll see that kind of pops them up. Then a tiny bit of glue in the centre of two of them. Add our flower, add our third one. And then I just press and hold for just a few seconds. And then I've just got a strip of our rhinestones here. Now there are some beautiful triple pearl centres for these as well, so you could use those. See, just 3 diamantes in the middle there. I think that looks perfect. I perhaps could have used my larger ones there, but use a single one. And then I do exactly the same with my next one. So again, 3 lots of shaping. A little bit of poking in the middle. 1, 2, 3. And then just that dab of glue in the middle. You could obviously use our glue dots as well. Those would work really well for these. And again, I didn't sort of say before, I'm offsetting these. So these ones I'm putting at in between the other petals, and then just hold those in place. And then I'm just going to use my take your pick tool, perhaps just to put a single one in the middle of that one. Okay, and then finally a little teeny tiny one. With these it's not so easy to do the individual petals, so I just kind of come in from each side, and because they're 3 all the same, pop that to one side. The way I do these is just very slightly different. So I again put a dot in each. And on the first one, I don't put it quite in the middle, I just put it slightly off to one side. And then the very top one, I pop in the kind of gap that's left at the end. Like so. And then you can just pop, you know, a diamante in the middle there as well. So those are all of our flowers. So to finish off our card then, we're now looking at kind of doing some assembly. Important things here is dimensionals. I'm using the big dimensionals on this. And I'm just going to pop one on each end and sort of one in the middle there. And that's because I want to kind of leave the corners free to poke some of my elements in. So I'm going to pop my banner on first. Then what I might need to do is I might need to sort of pop, depending where my flower, here we go, just about. That's the downside of the list of larger flowers. Yeah, that one's going to go better on the bottom there. So I popped a dimension on the back there. Keep my leaves off to one side. And same on my other one. I'm going to pop this little flower in the bottom corner here. can still see the banner. And I'm just going to pop a couple of leaves in either side. No, I'm going to use my sprigs. For my sprigs, the holly leaves are perhaps a little bit too heavy. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on the branch here. Lift up your petals and pop underneath. Grab that sprig. So I'm leaving the sort of fronds quite free on that. I rather like that to be just sort of floating a little bit. And again, just pop that underneath. And don't be afraid to trim these down, break them down a little bit. You don't have to use the whole of one at any one time. You can always just add a little bit more afterwards. So, there we have my sketch challenge card with my take on the sketch 2 ways. And what do you think? Let me know. Hope you enjoy making these. Here's some Christmas cards, and I would really recommend the beautiful Poinsettia suite because it is absolutely gorgeous. So Poinsettia Petals, if you'd like to purchase it, pop along to my blog, Flutter by Heidi, and follow the links, or go direct to my Stampin' Up shop, heidismith.stampinup.net. I'd love to be your demonstrator, and if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Thanks for watching. Bye now.